Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So it's game week 16 transfer targets. In today's video, I'll go over all the key information for the African Cup of Nations. Then I'll be talking about the players that will go into the tournament, if that's to sell them or you shouldn't be buying them. Then I'll show you an updated fixture ticker from now till game week 22. And then finally, I'll show you the hand-picked shortlist with all the best players to buy for the next few game weeks. So first of all, let's talk about the African Cup of Nations tournament. The mandatory release date is on the 15th of December. Man United play Bournemouth on that night. United have got Mbeumo, Ahmad and Mazraoui. I expect they all will play in that game and then travel after it, but we'll see. Next we've got the key dates for the tournament. On the 21st of December to the 31st of December is the group stages. So anybody that goes to the African Cup of Nations will miss game week 17, 18 and 19. If they get knocked out in the group stages, they'll be back for game week 20. If they qualify for the round of 16, then they'll miss game week 20 and 21. If they get knocked out in the round of 16, they'll be back for game week 21. If they get to the quarter-final stages, they'll miss game week 21. If they get to the semi-final, they'll miss game week 22. Because if they lose that semi-final, they'll play that third place playoff. And then if they get to the final, they'll obviously miss game week 22 as well. I expect if they do win the African Cup of Nations, they'll go back to the Nations to celebrate. So maybe after the 18th of January, they'll be a bit later celebrating. But there is a week break, so they should be back for game week 23 anyway. And then finally, I just wanted to flag the game week 19 deadline on the 30th of December at 6 o'clock. After that deadline, we'll get a second set of chips to use in the second half of the season. So we'll get that extra wildcard free hit, triple captain and bench boost. So just after the group stages of the African Cup of Nations, we'll get all them chips back. So maybe just after the group stages, you could buy some of them players back into your side, or potentially use one of them second half season chips. Now with all this in mind, let's have a look at some of the players that will be going to the tournament and who you should be selling or potentially not buying. So in defence, we've got Aït-Nouri, Mazraoui, Bassey, Diouf, Agbadou, Wissa, Tonazabi and Ronaldo. In midfield, we've got Salah, Marmoush, Mbeumo, Ndiaye and Sarr. Then we've got Iwobi, Ahmad, Dango and Baliba. The two forwards, Iwobi and Foster. I was expecting that Wissa would be going to the tournament, but he hasn't been selected. He's only just coming back from a knee injury, that's why. And then some of the players that won't go into the tournament is Semenyo, Kudus, Minter and Beto. There is a few other players that will go into the tournament that I haven't listed here. Just a really low on, so I didn't feel like I needed to flag them. So with all this in mind, here's game week 16's fixtures. I do expect all the players that are going to the tournament will play in these fixtures, but we will see. Maybe some of the players travel early and meet up with the nations earlier than expected. Keep your eyes out on social media and hopefully we get some updates on them. But maybe on the Friday the 12th, we'll get some updates from managers in the press conferences that some of these players have travelled. So with all this in mind and 5 transfers in the bag, I've made a shortlist of players that I think we should be buying in the next few game weeks. First of all, let's have a look at the fixture ticker from now till game week 22, and as you can see, Brentford, Fulham, Newcastle, West Ham and Liverpool at the top. I'm not going to spend too much time on this fixture ticker, screenshot the video if you want to keep it in hand. And without further ado, let's have a look at some hand-picked players that I've picked for the next few game weeks that we could buy. So for the shortlist for goalkeepers, I've gone with Raya, Gallagher, Verbruggen, Ramsdale, Sanchez, Alisson and Donnarumma. If you've got the budget, I think you should be buying Raya. I think they will keep the most clean sheets from now till the end of the season. If you want to save a bit of budget, you could go for Gallagher or Verbruggen. And with Nick Pope being injured up until Christmas, maybe Ramsdale's a good option. I picked Sanchez and Alisson just because they play for top size and you do expect them to keep clean sheets moving forward. And I've put Donnarumma last of all because he's got 4 yellow cards. Once he picks up that 5th yellow card, he was suspended, so I won't be buying him until he's got that suspension out of the way. Once teams have played the 19th game of the season, that threshold goes up to 10 yellow cards. But up until that point, I'll be cautious about buying any players with 4 yellow cards. Then if you've got the budget and you need a defender, I will be buying Timber in my side. Same thing as Ray, I think they'll keep the most clean sheets from now to the end of the season. And with Gabriel injured, I think he's the best defensive asset for Arsenal. When Gabriel's fit, maybe we'll go back to him, but we don't know when that'll be. Once we know that, maybe we'll go back to him. Then I've gone with Den Berg. You could go with Collins, but he's on 4 yellow cards. I think I'd rather save 0.4 million and get Den Berg. Den Berg's got 0 yellow cards so far this season, so I don't think he'll be suspended anytime soon. Then I've gone with Anderson, Chow and Van Het. They've all got good fixtures from now till game week 22. And then we've got O'Reilly, and I think he's a really good option to get. With Aït-Nouri going to the African Cup of Nations, it's even more assured that he'll be starting all the time. Yes, he might get benched one time for Gvardiol or Ake, but I think 9 times out of 10 he will start all the games. So for that reason, I think he's a really good option. Manoz, he's on 4 yellow cards. If you've got him in your side, you can just keep him. I'll wait until he gets that 5th yellow card and get that suspension out of the way until I'll buy him. and then just wait until he gets that yellow card and make a decision if you want to keep him or not. Into midfield, I've gone with Foden, Minter, Gakpo, Saka, Gordon, Fernandes and Palmer. All 7 of these options could be really good in the next few game weeks. Foden's on 3 yellow cards, so just be wary about that. Minter's been one of the key players for Brighton, and I do think he'll get some assists in the next few game weeks. With Salah going to the African Cup of Nations, I think Gakpo's minutes are even more assured. Yes, I know they play on different wings, but I think Verts and Ekitike will play on the right-hand side now, so I think Gakpo's minutes will go up. Then we've got Saka, and I don't really need to talk about him. He's one of the key players for Arsenal. We know exactly what we're going to get with him, consistent points. Then I've gone with Gordon. Newcastle's fixtures are really good and he's on penalties. Then with Mbeumo going to the African Cup of Nations, maybe Bruno Fernandes plays a bit further forward, so he could be a really good option moving forward. He's one of them players that gets consistent points every game week. And then finally I've got Cole Palmer. I know he's just come back from injury, so maybe we have to just wait and see on him. But if he does start to do well in the next few game weeks, we might want to buy him into our side. And then for the forwards, I've gone with Haaland, Thiago, Watermaid, Welbeck, Bowen, Isaac and Mateta. If you haven't got Haaland in your side, you definitely should be buying him. Especially with Salah going to the African Cup of Nations, you should have the budget to be able to afford him. Then I've gone with Thiago and Brentford's fixtures, the best from now till game week 22. He's on 3 yellow cards, so if he picks up 2 yellow cards, he'll be suspended. Then, as I've mentioned, Newcastle and Brighton's fixtures are pretty good from now till game week 22, so you could get Watermaid or Welbeck. West Ham's fixtures are pretty good and Bowen's the key man for them. If West Ham score, you do expect him to be involved. Then, as I've mentioned, with Salah going to the African Cup of Nations, I think Verts and Ekitike will play on the right-hand side. So I think it's going to be even more assured that Isaac plays all the time and starts up front. So in the next few game weeks, he could be a really good option. And then finally, I've got Mateta, and the fixtures aren't that great, but I think he's a good option. He keeps coming off around the 60th minute, so we'll have to keep our eye out on that. But Crystal Palace have been really consistent over the last year. And Crystal Palace are really good at creating chances, and it usually means Mateta's getting a chance. So I do think he could potentially score even in the hard games. So there we are from a Game Week 16 transfer targets. Get in the comment section and let me know how many of these players you're planning to buy. Get in the comment section and let me know if I missed any key players out of this shortlist. And also let me know in the comment section who you're buying in Game Week 16. If you found this video useful or informational, hit that like and subscribe button. My aim is to get 25 likes on this video. I'm also trying to get the target of 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you're playing FPL this season, hit subscribe so you can see my content over the season. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'm signing off and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.